Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. Tonight, we will be sharing critical information with you regarding the School of Natural Sciences. Part of that will include majors and minors, as well as what courses and how to make those selections when it comes time to register. At this time, let me go ahead and send things over to my colleague, Jen Souza.
Okay, so here is our list of majors and our minors. So we do have 5 majors in the School of Natural Sciences: applied math, bio, which is called bio, biological sciences, chemistry, environmental system science, and physics. All but environmental system sciences has what we call an emphasis track. So there are like 8 for math, there are 5 for bio, 3 for chemistry, and 5 for physics. So if that's something you're interested in, if you haven't already had a chance to look at it, you'll have a chance to explore those a little bit later. In regards to our minors, we have 3 major, just regular minors, which is applied math, chemistry, and physics. And then we have the 2 specialized minors that are housed in our CalTeach program, which again, we'll be getting to. That is Cynthia and Mariah's program. So we'll have them talk a little bit later. But those programs are geared towards students that are interested in teaching, whether it be in STEM or non-STEM, but for school natural sciences students, it'd be for specifically STEM students. So if you are interested in learning more about any of these majors, there are sample plans available on our website, and there's our website down there at the bottom, ns-advising.ucmerced.edu. We have a sample plan for every major with every emphasis track, so it kind of gives you a breakdown of what it looks like. Obviously, as transfer students, it'll look a little different for you because you're coming in with different kinds of credit, but it is nice to have some kind of visual representation of maybe what it would look like to finish the major. And then Erica can obviously be more specific with you about what it will look like for your journey, because it will be a little bit different. So here are some of our school additional programs within School of Natural Sciences. So we also have, along with undergraduate advising, we have pre-health advising. So actually myself and Erica are the 2 pre-health advisors on campus, and pre-health advising is specifically for students who are looking to go into a health profession like medical, dental, pharmacy, nursing. So we provide those kinds of services. And so there is a website out there, advising.ucmerced.edu. Erica and myself can give you more information on that if you're interested. The CalTeach program, which again, you're going to get a lot more information on in a little bit. And then our Excel program, which is also something you'll get more information in a little bit of further slides. So the services that we provide here, walk-in appointments, and our walk-ins and appointments are going to vary depending on the season. And why I say that is because during the times of high registration, things like that, we usually do walk-ins only, but we do update our website every week so you know when we're available. We're always quick with answering emails. So if you have a quick question, email is probably the best, but we do offer walk-ins and appointments all year round, including summer. The only time we don't offer during the summer usually is if we're on vacation like Erica is right now. We offer advising on our 5 majors and our minors. So unfortunately, if you're looking to transfer out of natural science, which is different for transfer students, but we have limited information on that. And so we usually refer students out to the other schools, but we can definitely support you on the 5 majors and minors. And Erica, being somebody who's been at UC Merced for an incredibly long time, is very, very familiar with all these majors and our minors. We look at short-term and long-term planning. So we're all about not just giving you like a semester by semester play-by-play, but we like you to have the big picture of what it's going to look like for you to finish your degree. How much longer is it going to take? What classes take? Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but in all reality, our classes are quite sequential. And so, and they aren't typically offered, especially the upper division courses for chem, math, physics, and ESS. They're not offered during the summer. So we have to be very, very specific about our recommendations on courses, which Erica will be providing with you usually every semester. Degree requirement for clarification. Obviously, as a transfer student, you come in with transfer credit. And so Erica will work with you if there are any things that are missing, or if there's ways to potentially petition to use certain courses that you've taken in alternative degree requirements. So again, she's kind of like your one-stop shop to make sure you're getting what you need, and in regards to support, and also making sure that you are graduating. And then connecting to other campus resources. So when we talk about resources, there's all sorts of different kinds of resources. There's not only going to be our resources internally in School of Natural Sciences like the Excel program and CalTeach, but there's going to be things like our financial aid office, our CAPS, which is our counseling services, the financial aid office. So we're all about trying to connect students to as many resources that are going to help them be successful students during their time at UC Merced. So You're going to have a required advising meeting during your very first semester. Again, that'll be with Erica Robbins. And so what'll happen is you'll get a hold on your registration if you don't meet with her. So I would really recommend that you meet with her prior to registration so you can get into the classes you need. It's a chance for you guys to discuss things like graduation. What are some post-graduation plans, including like, are you thinking about grad school? Are you thinking about PhD programs? Thinking about working. I mean, those are all things that you guys could discuss. So mid to late September, you're going to get an email from her about this. So you're not going to have a hold initially. You should be able to register with no problem come for fall semester, but you will not be able to register for spring 2023 until after you've successfully met with Erica. So again, all correspondence from Erica and from really UC Merced in general is going to come through your UC Merced email. So it's incredibly important that you're constantly checking that. I can't tell you how many times we've had students that, things have happened. They've actually been dismissed from the college and don't know it because they weren't checking their email. So everything of importance will come through email communication. So just please make sure that you're watching that. So how to get assistance. So that the big thing is always go to our website if you have just general information and questions. That is ns-advising.ucmerced.edu has a lot of information on there. We have linkage to other resources on campus, including things like pre-health advising and things like that. So go to there. That's kind of a one-stop shop for the general overview of natural sciences, but it also has academic resources attached to it. So we have our sample plans on there. We have our school natural sciences policies that are on there, stuff that's important for you to know. So we highly recommend that students really take initiative in their academic pathway here at UC Merced. And it's not just for transfer students, it's all students. So it's a give and take relationship. You have to be giving and taking. So while Erica and even the rest of us advising team are here to help, there also is accountability on your part to make sure that you're doing some research, that you're also looking into some options for yourself, but ultimately to make sure that you're keeping that line of communication open. Like I said, in all honesty, our classes are quite sequential for certain programs. And so we've had students that will not always listen to the advice from Erica with courses and have to stay longer. We don't get paid extra if you stay longer. So we really want you to graduate and graduate on time. And as transfer students, I'm sure that's ultimately your goal as well. So, so the step 2, personalize and plan. Please make sure that you have a chance to kind of look at your course options, maybe come with a list of classes that you think you might want to take. There's, she can help you with those. Any kind of concerns you might have, if you're thinking about potentially changing your minor or adding a minor, changing your major, adding a different emphasis track, all those things are things that Erica can help you with. Obviously making decisions about the upcoming semester, you want to make sure that you're communicating as early as possible. We also have students that will, and not just transfer students, like I said, all students, but we'll have students that will stop attending classes and not tell us until the end of the semester, where it makes it harder to help them. So we ultimately want you to communicate with us. You're not bothering us if you're communicating. You're not bothering us if you're coming to us with a list of questions, which is the step 3, meeting with your advisor. As an advisor, students will sometimes come with a list of questions and apologize. And I can't tell you how happy I am actually that they have come with those list of questions, because that's what I'm here for. I'd like to answer your questions. And if you have a list of questions, you're not bothering by asking those questions. I'd rather you ask them not. And Erica is the same exact way. So please, if you have questions, especially as a incoming transfer student for your first semester, if you have questions, again, feel free to ask them. That's what we're here for. So Erica will help with course selections. But ultimately, the creating of the schedule, we're not ones who sit there and will pick like the times and days you're taking classes. So there will be times where there's time conflicts. There's only so much we can do because, again, we have other responsibilities and other students. But there is a scheduler feature in MyDegreePath, which we'll be kind of covering a little bit later, that you can utilize. And our new system for registration actually usually will identify if there's some kind of time conflict popping up. So while she can help you with the course selection, she's not going to sit down and plan out your entire schedule. That'll be ultimately up to you. So the pre-health advising piece, like I mentioned, I'm one of 2 pre-health advisors, myself and Erica. So what we'd help is students to explore the pre-health advising realm. And so we call it pre-health because it's all encompassing. We're not just pre-med. Like, while medicine is usually the #1 goal of our students that are interested, we do pre-health advising for a lot of other career pathways. And so students have to attend a workshop students have to attend an introductory workshop initially to join the program. And then once they do join the program, they're allowed to meet with us and do individual appointments. But part of the program is we do hold those workshops every semester. We do bring in guest speakers from other programs outside of UC Merced because UC Merced currently does not have any pre-health programs. We don't have a medical school, in contrary to people's beliefs. We don't have one. We don't have a nursing program. We don't have any of those. So we like to bring in guest speakers from other schools that do, like UC Davis will come in for their nursing program or their PA program, UOP, same thing. So we like to bring guest speakers to discuss that. And then other events, we like to try to bring back alumni who've gone into these programs and like to come back and share their experiences. So we try to provide these as often as possible during the course of the academic year. It doesn't happen during the summer, unfortunately. So the prepare program, the prepare piece. So you're allowed to make individual appointments with myself or Erica. So you get one-on-one advising. So while you'll always have an academic advisor for your major, so in your case, it would be Erica, you would have a secondary advisor specifically for pre-health. So whether it be Erica or myself, they are different. There is some overlapping involved, but ultimately our goal is to try to help you become a competitive applicant for the pre-health program that you're looking to go into. So we also do application workshops, and we do review personal statements. So if you ever get to that point where you're trying to apply to a professional program, we do help with these steps. And then also we help with the application process. In fact, we've been reviewing some of those because the applications for medical school just opened up at the beginning of June. So Eric and I have been doing those the last few weeks. Okay, so now I'm going to kick it over to CalTeach and give them the opportunity to speak about their program.
Okay, everyone. So we are part of the CalTeach program, and this is our team. We have Chelsea Arnold. She's our program director. Maria Gonzalez. She's our special programs coordinator. And then there's me, Cynthia Marmolejo, the student services advisor. Oh, do I move the slide? Oh, you got it. Okay, thank you. So there's many components to our CalTeach program. We offer 2 academic minors for students who are interested in careers in K-12 education. We also have internships and scholarship opportunities. We have career development, advising, and support, as well as outreach initiatives. So we have 2 different minors. We have an NSED and we have an NSEC. So the natural sciences education minor, it's open to all majors. You can spend up to 60 hours working with students in local schools. There's financial support for testing requirements to become a teacher. So teachers have to take something called a CBES and also a CSET. And if you are in our NSED program, you can be reimbursed for those exams that you need to take in order to become a teacher. We also, the minor is 24 units, and it's a fast track to 2 credential program partnerships. So we have 2 partnership programs, Fresno Pacific and UC Merced teacher preparation program. So what's really great about that is typically earning your teaching credential will take you up to 2 years. But since we have a partnership program, you can earn your teaching credential in a year. We also have the natural science education minor with teaching credential. And this is open. So what's awesome about this is you can graduate with both your bachelor's degree and a single subject teaching credential. So by the time you graduate from UC Merced, you're done with your teaching credential. So it's amazing. You get to spend a semester at UC Berkeley. You get to experience teaching in different settings, and it's open to all our STEM majors. And it's 26 units at UC Merced and 10 units at UC Berkeley. And we provide full support during that whole process. When you become a teacher, you have to do a teaching portfolio, and Chelsea and I were available to review your application, review your portfolio, and help you throughout all the steps needed in order to obtain your teaching credential. When you decide that you are interested in taking one of our NSED courses, we do have all our students start off with the Introduction to Elementary Math and Science Elementary Education. So that is the first course that we recommend for students to enroll in. It is NSED 2324 and NSED 3334. And when you do enroll in those courses, it has seminar, but it also has a fieldwork component. So make sure that you add both classes, or else you might get an error when you register. The 23 and the 24 is the science course, and then the 33 and 34 is the math. So teaching math to elementary students. It's offered in the fall and the spring. There's no prerequisites to take our course. There's no final exam, and you get to complete up to 30 hours of field work during a semester. So what that looks like is during a semester, you would work 30 hours where you go into the classroom, you do observations, you work closely with the mentor teacher, you're assigned to a mentor teacher. So there's full support throughout your whole journey of the semester that you're taking that course. And also, it's a requirement for CalTeach minors, but this course is open to all students. So let's just say you're not sure if you want to add the minor, but you want to get some experience working with students, because there are other positions or careers that do like for students to have experience being around students, interacting with students. So it's really good way of being able to gain that experience, and it looks great on your resume.
All right, so just like that introductory course, which kind of gets you a little bit of experience working with students and kind of determining whether or not that's something you're interested in and want to get the minor in. CalTeach also has a ton of different internship opportunities that really does the same thing. So we understand that when you are transferring into the School of Natural Sciences, teaching might not be the first thing that you're thinking about, but it's something that we really recommend that you kind of dip your toe in a little bit. Because for some of you, it really can be like a life-changing experience and really set you on to a path of teaching STEM within K through 12 schools, or the K through 12 system. So with CalTeach, we offer right now currently 3 different internships. All of our internships are paid, which is really nice. And it's typically on a semesterly basis. And each semester, each internship, you do about roughly 40 hours for an entire semester. So it's a nice way to get some experience teaching while getting a nice little check at the end of the semester, and also be able to maintain a part-time position for work as well, if that's something you needed financially. So it can really work with your schedule. So I'm going to briefly just go over some of the internships that we offer. We offer a learning lab internship, which is very similar to the photos that you're looking at on the screen. At UC Merced, we are one of the few universities that actually has a STEM lab that is specifically focused on outreach for K through 12 education. And one of the beautiful pieces about this lab is the fact that we can hire interns to come into the lab, and you guys get to work with our team and develop course materials, lesson plans that are STEM focused in a topic that you are passionate about, and you learn to develop lesson materials and then deliver that to a class or multiple classes from our community. So for example, a 3rd grade class or a 12th grade class might schedule to come into our learning lab, and as an intern, you would get to develop the lesson that they get to experience, and you get to deliver that lesson. So it's really this full circle of experience where you get to develop it. You get to have an experience of being the teacher, leading a STEM class of something you're passionate about. And it really gives you this idea of whether or not that's something that, you know, is of interest of you, and if it's something you want to do for the long run. A second internship that we have is our Moby Maker Lab. We are also very unique with the fact that UC Merced has a Moby Maker Lab. This is essentially a STEM lab on wheels. It looks like a truck. And basically with this internship, you again get to have assistance and support in learning how to develop STEM materials, a lesson, for example. And for this work, this internship, you adapt that lesson for it to be mobile. So how can you, for example, teach math or do a lab experiment from a mobile lab that's, you know, in a rural community, you know, in the outskirts of Merced, for example. And so that one's exciting because you really get to work with communities that often don't get to really experience UC Merced very much, because of access, for example. And lastly, we have our our Bobcat Summer STEM Academy internship. Our STEM Academy is actually happening right now. And as an intern, you work with us for the entire year and you're paid for each semester, including summer. And you again develop materials, except this time your materials are developed for an entire week-long workshop. And you get to teach that workshop to either middle school or high school students. And it's a very, in-depth, advanced experience compared to the Learning Lab, which is more of like an hour workshop, compared to Bobcat Summer STEM, which you are a teacher for an entire week. All of our internships, as I said, are paid. They're either on a semester basis or for fall, spring, and summer. And again, it's working with K through 12 classes, getting teaching experience and developing lesson plans. So if you're ever curious and want to dip your toe in to get some experience and see if it's for you, feel welcome to reach out to myself or Cynthia, and we're always here to help you guys. As we said, if you guys are interested in teaching in any form, whether or not you guys want to go straight in to get your minor, or if you want to just get some internship and have some experience and put on your resume, you can reach out to Cynthia, who is our advisor. Myself, I am the special programs coordinator, and we also have Chelsea Arnold, who is our program director. On the side, we also have our Instagram and our Facebook account. It really keeps us active, and you can see all the different things that we have on, as offerings for CalTeach. We have a lot of internships that we're always posting for, and we have a lot of scholarships available. We really want to support you guys through this journey, and part of that is giving these opportunities for funding and experience.
Okay, it's my turn again. Just as a little piggyback on the CalTeach program. So our students, even from the first time that they enter UC Merced, even as a first year student, can do the classroom experience, and we highly recommend it. As an academic advisor, if a student tells me they're just remotely interested in teaching, I will recommend that they start, because most schools don't have the opportunity for something this early on in their college experience. And for a lot of students who are interested in teaching, in some cases, they don't get the chance to even work in a classroom until after they've graduated with their bachelor's degree and are already in a credential program. And in all honesty, that might be too late if that's been your plan for a long time to figure out, I don't like kids and I don't like teaching. So I highly recommend it. So definitely, look into the CalTeach program if you're just, remotely interested in teaching. So moving on, as additional program within natural sciences is our Excel program. And there is John Newton and Nancy Vu. John Newton is the program coordinator, and Nancy Vu is our the academic coach. So the program is unique to natural sciences only, and it's specifically for students typically who are in academic difficulty. And so it is additional support specifically for the students. We also recommend transfer students to it, students that are returning to college after a while. So things that they help with is things like strategies for success, developing goal setting, whether it's academic or even personal, trying to manage the transition. So yes, being a transfer student, you've already had some experience in college, but as a former transfer student myself, transferring from a community college to, I went to a CSU was, it was a big change. So they're definitely there to help. And again, you don't have to participate, but you're welcome to do so if you'd like. They offer academic coaching, things like time management, which is always difficult to kind of manage no matter who you are. They offer bilingual services, specifically Spanish. So I mentioned the time management piece, trying to identify challenges. And as a transfer student, you were probably more uniquely ready for this, but things like the strategies for success or academics, things like the timing of your classes. Do you need big breaks? Do you not need big breaks? As a student, I was a commuter student, so I was working and going to school. So for me, I just want to get in, to get my classes done and go, but that doesn't work for everybody. So just identifying those things and identifying what works and doesn't work for you. And then they're also very big on referring you to student resources. So they work with different campus entities in order to make sure that we're providing those services to students as much as possible. So planning for your degree. So the requirements. So we have a breakdown of requirements. So here is a nice handy dandy thing that can be incredibly confusing. And while I'm going to cover it, don't feel bad if you don't remember it. Like I said, we're here to help you with this. This is something that Erica will be always watching out for. We adopted a new GE program back in 2018. However, it didn't affect our transfer students until 2020. But the breakdown of the degree requirements, and this is true for all UC Merced students, is there are lower division common course requirements. So things like, social sciences, arts and humanities, an engineering course, lower division stuff. So there are courses that everybody has to fulfill. Most transfer students have already fulfilled most of these before they come in, which is nice. There's upper division common course requirements. And then the approaches to knowledge, there's two sections of approaches to knowledge, A and B. One's natural sciences and engineering, and the other is social sciences, arts and humanities. And you can't share between those. So the next one is you have intellectual badges. So there are, they keep changing it, so I can't tell you, I think it's 9 that are still currently active, but there are intellectual badges that have to be fulfilled upon graduation. And upon graduation, you have to make sure that you have taken enough coursework to fulfill that. And that's something as an advisor, we're very big on. So one course can fill up to 2 badges, and those courses can be shared amongst like your course requirements and things like that. So something that your advisor will be watching out for to make sure that you're fulfilling those badges. So the major core requirements, and then there's the emphasis stuff. So everything but ESS has an emphasis track. So you can't double dip in the sense of where you see that there is a course that can fulfill an emphasis track requirement, but also a major requirement. You can't share between the two. They are separate entities. And so you'll have to take courses to fulfill one of each. So you can't share there. And then if you want to add a minor, that's additional coursework, and there's additional rules with that. And so that's something, again, that Erica can help you with. So planning for the degree requirements. So lower division courses like Spark. Spark is something that's waived for transfer students, and writing is usually fulfilled before you transfer. But the quantitative reasoning and language requirement is something that usually, again, is still fulfilled by transfer students. Quantitative reasoning would be usually the first semester of college level math. So like Math 21, Math 11, you'll get more familiar with that a little bit later. We do require a language requirement. And so if this is something that's not fulfilled by the time you join us at UC Merced, then Erica will work with you to make sure that she's identifying a course that will fulfill that requirement, but also potentially additional requirements. We're all about maximize sharing and killing as many birds with one stone. Or upper division common course requirements. There are 3 crossroads: writing the discipline and culminating experience. These can be fulfilled by major courses. So what's nice about chem, which is one of my majors, the major itself fulfills all these requirements, but something like bio does not. So there is some extra planning that has to go into place in order to make sure you're fulfilling these requirements. Again, something that we're very familiar with as advisors. And again, we're all about making sure we're maximizing the courses. We're not about trying to make you take extra courses if we don't have to. And I kind of mentioned it already, the approaches to knowledge. You have the engineering and natural sciences. So this was a pretty easy one to fulfill because you pretty much fulfill it with all of your major courses. The social science, arts and humanities, those are usually fulfilled by transfer students initially because you'll take like a psych course and things like that. But if there's anything missing from there, then Erica will work with you on identifying additional coursework to make sure you get those fulfilled. So planning for your major requirements. So the common core lower division courses. So all of our students in natural sciences have to take chemistry. They start with, they can go as high as, well, chemistry has to go super high, but everybody has to take at least Chem 2, which is our introductory chem course for college students. Everybody has to take calculus, physics, a computer science course, a life or environmental science, and a stats course. So every single one of our majors in natural sciences has those common lower division courses. It does vary amongst the different, like bio and ESS, they have different courses that you can take to fulfill some of this versus chem, physics, and math, which are, they have to take the more STEM-based courses. But again, that'll be something that Erica will cover with you. The core upper division courses are required for all students in the major. So no matter what, so when we talk about, when we say there's emphasis tracks, and like math, for instance, has 8 emphasis tracks, with the core courses though, the core major, everybody does the same courses. Nothing changes. The only variable is going to be the emphasis track, which is going to be identified on what we call your audit, which we'll actually be reviewing here in a couple slides. So you will have courses that you have to fulfill. And like I said, you know, we're all about maximizing your time at UC Merced. And as an advisor, we're going to make sure that we're trying to make sure you're taking courses in the right order in order to get you graduated as soon as we can. So our grade policy within School of Natural Sciences and UC Merced, so prerequisites have to be fulfilled with a C- or better. Yes, we do have the plus or minus system. Most community colleges do not. So that is something new that you might have to face. So for instance, if you get a D in a class, you'll get the credit for the course in the sense of you'll get a D and it's kind of passing, but it's not fulfilling the prerequisites to the next course. So you'll have to pass the class with a C- or better to move on. So if you're a math major and you have to take math 22, then you have to get a C- in that class to move on to the next one. The next major course requirements have to be C- or better. So same thing, all your classes have to be fulfilled with a C- or better within the major, also with the prerequisites. But like if you take some like general ed stuff, sometimes you can get away with a D, but we really highly recommend C's or better. Courses must be repeated if minimum grade is not earned, and that you must get a 2.0 in all major coursework. So that is the goal there for everybody. We also have what is called a normal progress policy. So this isn't something that happens too often with transfer students because you guys are coming in and you'll have the full 9 semesters, but our students are expected to finish their degree within 9 semesters. And the requirements are anywhere from 120 to 150 units. So as a transfer student, you're going to come in with a lot of units already, but you're still going to have that expectation of finishing up your major requirements and any kind of GE stuff. But the truth is you're still expected to finish within 9 semesters. But coming in with so many classes, you're not going to usually need 9 semesters. I've never seen a transfer student take that long. So this is really only geared more towards our incoming first year students. And then as they move on, they have to finish in 9 semesters. If they want an additional 10th semester, they have to petition for it. There's a whole process for that. But like I said, this isn't something that's usually an issue for transfer students, but we just like our students to be aware of the policy. So MyDegreePath, if you have not had a chance to play around with this yet, I highly recommend you do so, only because it's one of the best tools that we have in our toolbox as advisors, but also as a student, you can go in there and play around with a lot of stuff there. So on the left-hand side, you'll see for continuing students, there's like the checklists to keep in mind, the whole financial aid thing, your student record, your housing, but the MyDegreePath, which is there's a picture here on the right-hand side. So when you first log into MyDegreePath, your landing page will always show your current declared major. And if you were to hit run declared program, then what you'll run is what we call an audit. And the audit is going to give you, let's see what the next one is. So running declared program, something like this. It's going to break down for you based on what you've taken. So basically, if you were to run this right now, if all of your transfer coursework has been inputted, this will show you what you have fulfilled as a transfer student and what's outstanding. So anything that's red shows that there's still more coursework that has to be fulfilled. Anything in green means it's already been fulfilled. And if you ever see blue, which there's no blue here, but if you ever see blue, that means it's in progress. So as you register for fall courses, some of your stuff will turn to blue. So the first on here on the right-hand side, you'll notice the biological science requirement. So this student, as an example, took Bio 1 at Modesto Junior College. And so they have Bio 1 and Bio 1 lab credit, but for their major as a bio student, they're required to also fulfill Bio 2 and the lab and Bio 110. So that's why that's still red, because they still have 2 outstanding courses. So again, if you want to kind of have an idea of where you stand in regards to your coursework and what you have remaining, this is the best way to do it. And this is the general audit where it gives you a screenshot of where you're at this particular moment, because there are a couple of other variations of audits. This one's just always the snapshot of current declared major, where you stand right now as of today. So showing you the red and the green. So this is plan. So before I can move on to that, so there's a secondary kind of audit. And let me go back to the previous page. So where it says run declared program, right above it, it says select a different program. So this is where you can play around. And as a transfer student, you have, there's rules and regulations about you changing majors. But if you want to change an emphasis track within your major, this is your opportunity to run what we call a what if audit. So if you were to click on the select a different program option right above the run declared program, then you can play around with the different emphasis tracks. So you can say, hey, like, I'm curious about this emphasis track. What's the difference in the courses? So you can run a what if audit, and it will show how the coursework you've taken fulfills that particular major and that particular degree and the emphasis track and what's also outstanding. So you can play around with this and you can run one for whatever major is being offered at UC Merced. So like our lower division undergrad, like incoming first years, a lot of them will use this program a little bit more regularly than transfer students, but it's good to know that you have the option. So the next piece, which is the plans piece. So we recommend, we require students to have what we call an educational plan. And so right here on this, there is a test plan. So this student is an environmental systems student. They are fall 2019 catalog. So if they were to click on that create a new plan, what'll show up is a breakdown of what type of plans you can create. So what kind of program. So in this case, they're looking at environmental system science, and you'll notice it doesn't have a year. So you always have to refresh it in order to show the year. I don't know why it's glitchy like that, but it is. So if you were to refresh it, the 2019 option would pop up. And if you click on that, it shows you, it pops up as this. So even though she mentioned ESS in the previous slide, this is a bio example. So on the left-hand side is what we call a roadmap. And the roadmap is the degree that you're seeking, and it's going to show any kind of remaining coursework that you still have to fulfill. So as a transfer student, you'll see a lot of stuff checked off already because you've already fulfilled it prior to transfer to UC Merced, but anything that's still outstanding will not be checked off. And so what you need to do is, if you were to click on, like, for example, here, Math 15, if you click on that button, it'll show the class. And then all you have to do is drag and drop the coursework from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So what'll happen is you'll create this education plan or graduation plan, either way you want to call it, identifying which coursework you have remaining and what order you plan on taking it. And then Erica will review it and make any adjustments that need to be made based on sequencing of courses. So then you kind of always have some kind of idea of what is remaining for you. And it also gives you a chance to have an idea of what's next for you for the next semester. So if you ever have a question of like, oh, what classes do I have to take next? If you have this plan and it's been updated and reviewed by Erica, all you have to do is just go in there and take a look, and you'll already know which classes you need to register for the next semester. So it's super helpful. So the grade policy. So same thing, we kind of already mentioned this a little bit, but the prerequisites of a C- or better, you have to get a C- or better in major courses. You have to repeat courses, and if you haven't passed them and gotten the minimum grade, and then you got to have a 2.0 overall in your major coursework in order to graduate. So academic resources. So there is our ns-advising.ucmerced.edu website. So there is the website, like I said, kind of a one-stop shop. It has information on our academic advising and resources and our hours so Erica's hours and when her availability is and all of that. You also have the naturalsciences.ucmerced.edu website. So that's the overall natural sciences website. This is actually the best place to get information about the NS faculty, what they teach, also the research that's going on campus. So they actually have an area called research areas where it identifies what kind of areas of research that are going on. And then if you click on that, it'll actually give you additional information of the different labs that are on campus, who's running the labs, what kind of topics are they covering, in case you're interested in doing research in the future. And then we do have social media. So our top media, we have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we try to update that as much as possible. So if you're interested, you can follow us. And there is natural sciences information, but also CalTeach. So anytime we have events coming up or some kind of big thing going on, we should try to advertise it on our individual advising. So CalTeach, for example, because they're doing their STEM Academy this summer, they're heavily advertising those on the website. Here's the page as giving you a chance to kind of look it over really quickly. So it's advising.ucmerced.edu. So you have information about new student, current students, who is my academic advisor, but you all know that your advisor is Erica Robbins as a transfer student, but it has the information that you need there. And this is just the overall academic advising page for all academic advising at UC Merced, not just natural sciences. And there, if you click on natural sciences, it'll take you to our page. So what you can do now, so maintain your course schedule. So check UC Merced email. And like I said, I cannot stress this enough. Please continuously check your UC Merced email. It happens all the time. Issues with financial aid, getting holds on accounts, everything of importance will come through your UC Merced email. So you really need to make sure you have that going and checking it constantly. Being aware of any kind of policies or deadlines, we do try to send out emails as reminders of, hey, upcoming deadlines. But if you need to know more for yourself, there's a studentsfirst.ucmerced.edu the website where they will have those priorities, policies, and deadlines on there as well. But they can cue you to like, financial aid and stuff. Erica would like you to make sure you stay in touch with her. Again, she is highly important. You're going to get that one-on-one advising. But if you have any kind of questions about progress, or if you're not doing well in classes, anything that's impacting your academics, she wants to know. She wants to know as early as possible. Don't wait. That's what she's there for. So after today, you're going to roll and fall courses on your designated day and time. And then if you have any questions about transfer credit, so if you look at your audit, because you can run an audit, and you see that stuff is not populating maybe the way it should, or you're concerned that it was a mistake, please let her know, because she can help you to get that rectified. So questions, please feel free to email erobbins2@ucmerced.edu, and there's the website with the office hours. But if you have any general questions as of right now, then we'd be happy to, if you have questions about CalTeach or about just advising in general, we can try to answer them as much as possible for you. Let's see, we got a question. I want to double major in biological sciences, human bio, and psychology. So that's something you're going to want to email Erica about an interest in it, and she can direct you to, there's a packet that has to be filled out, and there's rules and regulations related to it, but she can definitely, if you want to email her, she'll be back next week, and she can give you some more information about that. Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'd like to thank you for participating. Like I said, I'm sorry I'm not Erica, but again, she's enjoying herself at Walt Disney World, so I can't fault her for that. But I thank you for, for joining us. And if you have any additional questions specifically related to your advising, then you can definitely email Erica. She'll be back next Wednesday, and she'll be happy to answer your questions. And Cynthia, you had something to say?
No, I just want to say thank you everyone for joining us. And if you have any questions about CalTeach, feel free to reach out to us.